Hello, and welcome to Truck Talk. And not to worry, in this episode of Truck Talk, I will be keeping my eyes on the road and my hands at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Truck Talk is my series where I'm not necessarily talking about trucks, but I'm in my truck answering viewer questions. Now, as it happens, in this episode of Truck Talk, I'm in my truck talking about my other truck because it is a regular viewer question. But before I get to the old Mazda, I have a couple of other topics I want to talk about real quickly, and you will find chapter links in the bottom of the video player and in the description below if at any point you'd like to skip forward. So in my previous episodes of Truck Talk, there has been some consternation about the fact that I'm driving and sometimes looking at the camera, sometimes gesturing with my hands as I talk. To me, it feels natural. I do these episodes in the truck because I feel like I talk more naturally when I'm driving along, as if I'm talking to a passenger in the passenger seat right over there that I'm not going to look at, rather than sitting at a desk or standing in front of a camera, which doesn't feel as natural to me. When I'm driving around with my daughter and we're talking, I glance at her, I might gesture with my hands as I'm explaining something. So when I'm driving and filming a Truck Talk episode, I talk in the same way. That's kind of the point. What you don't see in the finished videos is all of the times that I abruptly stop talking because I need to focus my attention on the road, and then once I've got a clear shot ahead, I get back to talking. Now all of those spaces get edited out. Ultimately, at the end of the day, if me talking and looking at the camera and gesturing while I'm driving is distracting from the message, distracting from what I'm saying, then that's not a very effective way to make a video. So today I'm going to drive around solely focused on the road. I'm not going to look at the camera. I'm going to keep my hands on the wheel. So as you might have seen if you watched last week's video, a couple of weeks ago, I had my Patreon member winter camp out, and that was a lot of fun. I do want to quickly extend a thank you to Jason, Gary, and John for going out and securing the campsite a few days in advance, and they also collected a bunch of firewood for us to burn and keep warm while we were there. So thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you also to all my Patreon members who were able to come out, and thank you in general to my Patreon members who contribute a small amount every month to keep this channel literally on the road. Now, the week prior to the campout, Jason and I scouted out some campsites, and there was like a foot of snow on the ground, but it got warm and rainy, and by the time the campout came around, it was much less snowy and much more muddy and mucky. We had a really nice day on Friday, but no real rains came until after everyone went to bed on Saturday night. And Sunday morning, everyone pretty much got up, started packing away their stuff, and heading for home. Now, each evening we would gather around the campfire, talk, share stories. Saturday night, my friend Jimmy built an extra nice campfire, which successfully burned through the wet wood that we had and kept everyone nice and warm. Obviously, I spent some time going around looking at everyone's setups and filming them for last week's video, but largely we just hung around. Those of us who already knew each other got caught up. Those of us who didn't know each other got to know each other better. Really great group of people. It was a really enjoyable experience in a beautiful spot next to a little creek. I will be having other camp out opportunities in the future for members of my Patreon. Okay, so let's get on with what this video is actually about, which is the old Mazda truck. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions. What's going on with the Mazda? Where's the Mazda? What's happening with the Mazda? I won't go into a huge amount of detail about the backstory. I have a video that introduced the Mazda gosh, it must be over a year ago at this point. But basically, I wanted a second little vehicle that I could run around town without driving the Frontier, without, putting wear and tear on the, big expensive tires on this truck, and something that was just easier to maneuver in parking lots, easier to see out of in all directions, and something that could actually haul, yard debris and dirt, or even just like a sheet of plywood or some long pipes or things like that that I cannot put in the Frontier. I also thought it would be nice to have a manual transmission vehicle so that I can teach my kids how to drive stick, as neither of them have learned that yet. So I had kept my eyes on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace for months and months, and this little Mazda came up, and it was a very, very good deal. It was sort of an estate thing. I bought it from the daughter of the previous owner who had recently passed, and it had some work done by a friend of the family who was a mechanic. So it was running very nicely, but very quickly it became apparent that there was some kind of issue. Just want to remove the air cleaner so I can see all the way around the carburetor. But there are so many things. I mean, I thought this was a simple engine, but there are so many things connected here just to get this simple piece off. I wasn't planning on making a video about this because I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm definitely out of my comfort zone here. Doing some reading on the internet and in some Mazda forums I found. It seems like a likely culprit could be something called the EGR valve sticking, not functioning or sticking open. The other possibility may be something to do with a carburetor injector being clogged. I'm certain I'm in over my head on this. Okay. All right. Yeah, it is super, super gunked up in there. There are just like huge chunks of carbon, I guess. All right, it's now the next morning. I went at this thing a number of times last night with the cleaner. Hey, Charlie. Everything actually went back together reasonably well. Guess we'll start the truck and see what happens. We'll wait for a little final inspection here. What do you think, Charlie? I'm just thrilled that it actually started. Oh, it was still sitting at a high idle. I did not fix it. This was already a little bit outside of my comfort zone in terms of working on a vehicle, but it wasn't that bad. I was very, very careful about keeping track of all the bolts and bits and pieces and where all the vacuum tubes went. I'm always super nervous taking things apart that I'm not going to be able to put them back together again afterwards. So my buddy Scott, who lives out of town, but you've seen him on the channel a few times, he drives that big red truck with the camper that he built himself. He's a pretty competent mechanic, and he came down and we fiddled with it for a while. So after some more research, Scott and I concluded that ultimately probably the best thing to do was just to simply do a Weber carb swap. So putting on an aftermarket carburetor. What I found is that pretty much everyone who still drives these little trucks around, they've done this. And it also eliminates some of the octopus of vacuum tubes underneath the hood. The cost of the carburetor was a pretty significant fraction of what I actually paid for the whole truck. But ultimately, it did seem like the right thing to do. And Scott and I started trying to find a time when he could come down and help me with it. I watched a bunch of videos on how to do it, and I possibly could have tackled it myself, but I don't have a lot of confidence with, running into unexpected little problems that may crop up. We tried a few times to get our calendars and our schedules lined up, didn't quite get connected, and then my dad got sick and was in the hospital, and then I was pretty much out of town for 2 months. In the meantime, Scott dove into a new, really big project on his own truck, and I was actually resigned to just selling the truck along with the new carburetor in the box and letting someone else take it on. I was basically ready to just give up on having the little truck. But then some friends of mine, Jason and Andrea, who you've probably seen on the channel at some point in the past, they were coming through town and wanted to meet up for a drink. They also invited another local friend of theirs, Brian, who joined us. Now it turns out Brian also watches the channel, and he said to me, "What's going on with the Mazda?" Now it turns out that I've actually met and camped with Brian a couple of years ago at one of Jason's Patreon events, and another funny little connection is that purely by coincidence, Brian bought the van that used to belong to one of the guys at Grizzly's Granola. So I had actually been out camping with Brian's van before he ever actually bought it. Anyway, Brian is also a very comfortable and competent mechanic, and he said, "I can help you with that carb swap." So one day he came on over and we dove into it. We got through it in about 2 hours, I would say. But I was glad that he did come over. There were some unexpected quirks that I would not have known how to deal with. And when he was younger, apparently Brian did a bunch of swapping carburetors on little, 1980s mini trucks. Should I
I wouldn't pump it or anything.
Or should
just
I touch
let
the
it.
gas pedal?
Not yet. Just
Okay.
let it turn over for a little bit.
Gotcha.
With the choke and stuff on it, should just fire.
Now with the air cleaner in place, job is done. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome.
We got it done, got it back on there, fired right up, running really nicely, doesn't die. It feels like the engine is running better in general and developing a little more power, but that was a successful operation. So I am no longer looking to sell the Mazda. It is going to remain part of the fleet. There are a couple of more things I need to deal with before I can really drive it around regularly. The exhaust pipe behind the catalytic converter up to the muffler really rusted, huge holes, and exhaust fumes would suck up into the cab of the truck. And so driving that thing around for more than a few minutes could definitely feel the effects of breathing the exhaust. So that is my next step on the Mazda. I'm going to see if I can find a shop that can fix that exhaust. In the meantime, just to be able to drive it to some shops and have some people look at it, I hacked up a very temporary fix using some aluminum cans that I cut apart and some high heat exhaust tape that I got at the auto parts store. And I've got the bulk of the holes covered up. So this is definitely a very temporary fix. I just need it to hold well enough to be able to drive to a couple of shops and have somebody look at it. I used the very last bits of the tape to patch the biggest holes on the muffler. Well, we'll see if that makes a difference in how much exhaust sucks in here. Don't worry, I'm not gonna look at the camera while I drive. Be right back, Charlie. Nice to be back driving this thing again. That was Lucy. quieter. Need to just drive for a little while and see if after 5-6 minutes I start feeling loopy or not. Well, I drove around for quite a while there. I don't feel lightheaded, so that definitely seems to have helped. And that's just a very temporary fix, just so I can drive it around and actually take it to some muffler shops or exhaust shops or whatever and find someone who can do it. After several minutes of driving, and it's very hot now. I mean, it's not falling off, so if it buys me a couple of weeks, that's really all I need. So now with the bulk of the leak more or less covered up, I can drive it a little more reasonably, and I'll be looking at getting that exhaust fixed. And probably to be safe, I should replace the tires, which have a lot of tread on them, but they're very, very old. Probably fine for driving around town, but occasionally if I do need to get up to freeway speeds, I think it probably would be best if I just go ahead and replace those tires. But then the Mazda truck will be back in action. I am already loading it back up with a backlog of yard debris. I might do a few little things like that even before the exhaust and tires are done. So I'm really happy to have the Mazda up and running again. It's so fun to drive, and it seems like a fun little side project. Huge thanks to Brian for coming over and helping me with that carb swap. Once I get the exhaust done and the tires done, we may even see that little Mazda out on some kind of little camping adventure. So let me know if this Truck Talk was more comfortable to watch, less distracting, with me keeping my eyes 100% on the road and my hands 100% on the wheel. If you have any questions about anything that I talked about in this video, please post them in the comments below. Thank you for watching.